Restaurants are cutting jobs. Restaurant workers are taking home less money in tips, and restaurants are closing.
It's been a fierce D.C. debate for years. How much should the tipped minimum wage be? It's typically lower, with workers expected to make up the rest in tips. The business covers the difference if they don't.
Under Initiative 82, the tip to minimum wage has now gone up from $5.35 an hour to now $10 an hour. And it was supposed to keep going up every year until 2027, when it would be the same as D.C. minimum wage.
But Mayor Muriel Bowser says she believes that's no longer feasible for employers because of tough economic times.
It would be negligent of us to act like we're in the same place we were 3 years ago.
What a freaking disaster, guys. Washington, D.C. is turning into a hell hole. You guys heard me right. This is a terrible place to live right now. Things are just going sideways. Rampant crime. You got people getting the heck beat out of them, and people recording the videos, of course, because people are stupid. And you also got massive job loss. You got 900 plus jobs, 50 different restaurants shut down entirely. No take backs, no PPE loans to save them, no possibility, oh, let's do some bankruptcy riffraff and sell it to somebody else and they can keep running it. No, they're gone, all because of woke, stupid minimum wage policy. Now, I'm not against any minimum wage increase, but when you increase it every single year, like they've done in Washington, D.C., then you're looking at a disaster, especially when you make it where the tipped workers have to get paid as much as the hourly workers, where they've been trying to close that parity between them. And this has caused this big disaster and massive job loss, massive loss of business in Washington, D.C. California apparently didn't learn. They did this out there and a bunch of workers got laid off. They're also doing it in D.C. A bunch of people are getting laid off here. And of course, they're going to turn around and blame President Trump for it and say, oh, it's some kind of way his fault. Guys, don't make me freaking laugh. Without further ado, let's go ahead and react to this video where they get into it in greater detail.
Reporter John Gonzalez with us live. John, good morning. So many things going on here.
Absolutely, Adam. Good morning. D.C.'s restaurant sector is reeling right now. Close to 900 full-service jobs have been lost, and more than 50 restaurants have already closed during the first half of the year. Even iconic...
More than 50. Not 50, more than 50.
Restaurants like Martin's Tavern here in Georgetown says it is open to the possibility of moving to Virginia across the river. Now, the Restaurant Association says this is not a coincidence. It's the impact of Initiative 82, which is raising the base pay for tipped workers every year until it matches the city's minimum wage. Still, the D.C.
Okay, this was a restaurant association. Not one restaurant, oh, it was conservatives there. Like, I guess they could say the organization is a conservative organization. Doubtful, but who knows? This is a whole organization. This is for all restaurants out there. They know that these policies suck.
Some business owners say they can't afford the extra costs. 2 district restaurants closed within the past month, Sticky Rice on 8th Street and Hycon in Shaw. Both cited Initiative 82 and other financial challenges.
I'm sure that they went against it at the time, but the woke leftists decided, no, we don't care what you got to say. We want to pay workers what they deserve. Now they don't have no job. Hello, learn some economics.
Council approved a major amendment last month, freezing the tipped wage at $10 an hour through 2026 and delaying full parity by nearly a decade. Now, on the flip side,
so guys, this is how stupid this is. They're trying to close the gap between the hourly workers and the tip workers. And they're saying, well, hey, you got to catch up with the hourly wage. But the hourly wage was going up every year by a lot. So the tip wage was going up even more to try to catch up and close that gap. Now they got a 10-year pause. If something's working and it's a good policy, why would they pause it for 10 years, guys? Why would they pause it 10 years? That's a long time. You're not going to snap your fingers and that be done. I want to make sure I emphasize this, because what this means is the Democrats, because of politics, they created this policy. Didn't care about the outcome, and all the people was going to lose their job. Now, guess what? Now those same people need the Democrats even more because they need a bunch of stupid programs to pay for people that's unemployed, more SNAP benefits, more unemployment, more money going into that, more food stamps, people that's broke as hell because they ain't got no job. Now they need Democrats even more. You see how the Democrats play this game. It's sick the way that they make people rely on them by making them lose their job, making sure they can't take care of themselves so that they have to put these wackos back in office in order to survive.
Advocates call it a betrayal of democracy, pointing to data showing record high employment earlier this year. They argue Initiative 82 is working and that the recent job losses are more likely tied to federal budget cuts and post-pandemic shifts. Advocacy group
Somebody explained to me how federal budget cuts, federal means that restaurants can't afford to pay workers, that people are going in and tipping people less. What are we talking, PPE loans or something? Like, what is the deal? What is going on? Like, somebody explain this in greater detail, because whoever the hell said that, whatever woke weirdo said that, is not making any goddamn sense.
Wage accuses opponents of exaggerating the downturn to undo this law. Longtime restaurant operator Mike Jones disagrees.
The other side of that coin is when we create this conversation out there, it also gives rise to the consumer who says, I don't need to tip them as much anymore because they're being paid more.
Exactly.
So the losers in the end end up being the people that one fair wage seems to think they're going to help. They're not. And I think it is a tragedy. I think the city has a major problem on its hand come the end of the year.
Mayor Muriel Bowser's office had pushed to repeal the law entirely, citing not just restaurant closures, but also a ripple effect from federal job losses. For now, the council leaders there say that the wage compromise is a reset, not a reversal. We have more information on our homepage.
They're going to say anything, oh, it's not a reversal. Yeah, it is. Guys, what is a 10-year pause? I mean, you could say, well, we didn't stop it. It's going to be back in 10 years. They're not going to bring this back. They're not going to bring this back. Here's who would bring it back. They're having a tight race. They're trying to get a new mayor. The next mayor, guaranteed, somebody who wants to win. They want to kick this Bowser lady out. And they like, hey, she wants to get rid of programs that are paying restaurant workers their fair share. She sounds awful lot like a Republican to me. She's tap dancing for the white folks out here. So, we going to get rid of her, and I'm going to make sure them tip workers get the wage that they deserve. This is how the Democrats talk.
Flashback.
And you can only afford this great housing and the opportunity in the district if everybody has a fair wage. That's why we fought so hard for a $15 minimum wage. When they told me, I couldn't believe it, that people that were working in our airports were making $7 an hour. But because we put the right people on that board, that is changing even at the Washington airports in Florida.
A bunch of people are going to be hooting and hollering too. They're going to be like, yeah, tip workers. Yeah. They're going to be going crazy. Ignoring the no tax on tips from President Trump in a big, beautiful bill that just passed. So they're not going to get tipped on that. They're not going to get charged on that, at least up to a certain dollar amount. But they're going to ignore that. But they're going to listen to people politically motivated. I don't understand people. Guys, when people are politically motivated, they're going to tell you things that are going to hurt, even if you don't realize it. They know you don't realize it. There's evidence that these things don't work. What they try to do with President Trump, oh, this isn't going to work, like tariffs and all this stuff isn't going to work. There's evidence that that does work. Tariffs have been used since before anybody watching this video has been alive. Tariffs have been in use. But when it comes to stuff like this that we can see happening today across the nation in a bunch of liberal cities, you can see it not working. You can see the effects. People lose jobs. Big businesses close. Small businesses close. Everything goes haywire, and then they end up doing something to stop the bleeding. And then you turn around, the election comes up, some Democrat promises they're going to cut it back open and we're going to be bleeding out again. That's basically how this goes. Guys, argue these people down. When you talk to people who support these stupid policies, don't let them think that this is going to work, because they're hurting themselves. They're hurting you. They're hurting everybody without realizing it. We can't live off of no jobs. At least sometimes you could get 2 jobs. And, you know, people say that's not, I shouldn't have to work 2 jobs. Well, hey, the way that they're going, you're not even going to have one. Between all these illegal aliens, that most of which they're not going to be able to get rid of, and between these wage increases, how are you going to get a job? I know a lot of people trying to get jobs right now, and if they're like unskilled workers, basically like, you know, entry-level workers, they're struggling to get jobs. It's too many people fighting for the jobs, and all the stuff President Trump is doing, it takes time to fight back against a bunch of radical, stupid policies and a bunch of millions of other people that's coming to the country with a bunch of fake paperwork, stealing your jobs. It's hard. One of the biggest groups of people that suffer from it, unfortunately, make the stupidest mistakes politically, is black people out here with a lot of unskilled labor, trying to compete for jobs that are high-paying jobs because they keep increasing the wages. Not that many of the jobs exist because their wage is too high, so they're not going to have that many of the jobs. 3, you got more people coming in. How stupid can you be, guys? Come on. Wake up. These are my thoughts, guys. Let me know what you guys think. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. I appreciate you watching the Black Anomaly Rising. I'm out.
You know what woke means? It means you're a loser. Everything woke. Everything woke. It's true. Everything woke turns to shit, okay? It's true. It's true.